Train the muscles, not the joints. Welcome back to Natural Glam Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I choose the body parts I'm going to train in a given day. Now, pretty easy subject for you advanced lifters out there. Some of you are maybe beginners, some of you are intermediate, and usually how I started this whole game, like a lot of you out there, is I had a strict program. I'd stick to that program come hell or high water, and most likely if something was written down, or that's exactly how I did it, right? So, but as you can see in this workout, I walked in the gym and I said, hey, my chest feels flat. I mean, my upper chest, I hadn't worked upper chest for a little bit. It felt like that area just was missing something, missing some pumpitude, if you want to use bodybuilding terms, some pumpitude, or it just felt like it's more flaccid or not as tight, right? So I'll make a decision when I walk in the gym of what muscles feel like they need a bit of work. It's not about a mental game anymore, although in the beginning it was all mental. It was all how many days, doing the math in my head, how many days has it been since I trained, how many days has it been since I hit arms or whatever, and then I would decide based on whatever given program I was doing at the time of what I should be doing for an exercise. But really what I do now is I feel myself into the body, and I know this takes time to develop, but you will find yourself doing this, and some of you are already doing this. And you will feel, okay, what body parts are sore? I mean, to some extent, you're already doing this a little bit. I mean, you know what body parts are sore, what body parts feel like they haven't been trained in a long time. You can actually feel it in there. You can actually feel it. I guess my point is you can feel it. The bottom line is that I will choose based on what feels tight, what feels like it has a pump, and what feels like it's just totally soft. Basically no muscle tone left in it, and then I'll choose from there. So yeah, in this particular night I walked in the gym, I said, hey, my upper chest needs something, and then I knew I needed to train some back because I just had the right feeling. It's like the back felt fresh. It felt like, hey, I need some tightness in there. Yeah. So I went to some bent over rows, and I haven't done heavy bent over rows for I guess it was about a month. I hadn't done bent over rows of 3 plates or so or over. I just had stuck to doing 2 plates for bent over rows. So this particular night I decided to go to 3 plates and to go a little heavier. But again, I make these decisions based on how my body feels. So it felt like my back needed to get stimulated with some heavy weight. There's this different feeling between heavyweight and lightweight as well. And I see a couple of you guys, because I follow a few of you on Facebook and stuff, that you're experimenting with heavyweight and then lightweight. And you just trust that, because some days you're going to go in the gym and you're going to feel like the body needs to be stimulated in the way that only heavyweight can, or a power exercise can. It's just much different than the lightweights. But then sometimes if you walk in the gym and you feel like you need that pump, right? You just need to pump that blood in there, and high reps will give you more stimulation. So everybody's going to have their own preference, and everybody's going to have their own ratios that are necessary in order for them to grow. But I do find you do develop a sense for this over the years. As you train, you'll start to develop a sense of a feeling, and you'll crave that feeling, and you know what tool is needed in order to create that feeling. For delts, I've been doing some heavy bench presses lately. So for delts, I felt like, hey, my delts have been overstimulated a lot with the heavy bench, my front delts, as far as the power fibers. I need to pump some blood in there. So hence the shoulder presses. Now, I'm doing these shoulder presses. This is usually my preferred range of motion, just to constantly pump and contract. But you will see in another set, I did decide, I'm going to go all the way up and just do full reps all the way up and down. And I think it's about the 3rd set I do this. I'm like a king. This is my seat of power. Now you'll see this also pertains to range of motion. Sometimes I'll be doing more of these partial type constant tension reps, and then sometimes I do feel the need to almost lock out or bring the weight all the way up and all the way down. So I do play around with that from time to time, because sometimes I do have a craving to just feel the muscle or feel the stretch in a certain way. Although for most of the time, these types of reps are what I stick to. That's really what feels right to me. And again, it's going to be different for each person. So the one thing I said to myself, like I said, I needed to use the front delts and actually the delts in general on this angle. It felt like my shoulders, even though they were getting stimulated from bench press, I needed to actually stimulate the trap, and you do get, a little bit of medial delt as well on the press. Not maybe as much as I would like, but you do get some medial delt as well. And it just felt like this angle of attack just is what I needed. I don't know. I get a little bit of upper chest too, of course, because I lean back a little bit, and it just felt right. So yeah, the next thing I wanted to do was close grip. Now, I talked to you guys a little bit about the variation of close grip, one on the smooth machine and one on the flat. Now, this is an angle that at this time of filming this video, I had not used this angle for quite a long time. I had always been doing the close grip bench, but only the free weight version. So as you can see on the Smith machine, because the elbows are tucked in, the angle of attack is quite a bit different. And because it's balanced as well at the same time, there is a bit of an angle. Although it's hard for you to see, the Smith machine is on a bit of an angle, so it almost mimics a decline type of movement as I'm laying flat. So the triceps are getting more stimulated than, say, the front delts. Now, again, you have to experiment, see what's right for your body here. But for me, it felt like there was a part of the tricep that I wasn't necessarily getting, and it's more... I feel this one more in the internal part, the inner tricep, not the outer, but more the inner. Whereas when I flare the elbows and I press with free weight, I notice that I get the outer tricep, the outer head. So this does help stimulate the tricep in a different way. And I felt like, hey, it was time. It was time. It was like I was getting like Aunt Helen's arms underneath there. It just felt like they were just like flabby, and I could probably... If I just held them up, it just felt like they would kind of flap in the wind, so I wanted to hit that area. Okay, so they weren't really flabby. That's an exaggeration. But the bottom line is that, yeah, they weren't sore. They weren't tight. They weren't feeling pumped. They weren't feeling like they had just been trained. So, yeah, I made the decision to train them. That's basically it. I know it's extremely simple to listen to, but your bodybuilding spider sense really gets tuned in. So there's lots of times I've walked in the gym and said, okay, I got to train legs today, and I got to do squats, or I got to do deadlifts, or I got to do something. And then I've turned around and said, okay, no, I'm not doing that. I'm doing something different. I maybe need to train chest, or train biceps, or maybe train a different part of the back, or use a different exercise than what I had planned. Maybe I planned on doing bent over rows, but then it felt like a heavy machine row, or chins, or weighted chins, or something else was more necessary. It just felt like that was the part that needed stimulation. So if you kind of turn on your awareness, turn on your spider sense, your bodybuilding spider sense, you turn that on, you just feel the body, almost like close your eyes before you start your workout and feel what feels tight, what feels like it had been trained in the last little while, and what feels like it hadn't been trained at all. Like it's like you hadn't ever worked out in your life. And there's certain areas where you feel that, where there just feels like the muscle has not been stimulated for a long time. And I think that's not a bad way to approach your workouts. Sometimes it is neat to throw the program aside and say, okay, what am I actually feeling? Let's see what's really happening in the body right now. And then make your decisions on what you're going to train based on that. And I'm assuming you're not lazy, okay? I mean, this doesn't work if you're just lazy and you're just looking for a way out of doing the hard exercises. But if you're not lazy, then you will definitely get that craving. There's like a craving for heavy weight, or a craving for a lightweight workout, or a pump. There's a craving for certain ranges of motion that happen. And if you follow this craving, I noticed that it definitely stimulates a lot of muscle mass and makes the gym more fun, because you just never know what's going to happen. It's like the body is your personal trainer. So I hope this helps you out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. And if you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalglambodybuilding.com. And thanks a lot to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now.